Hello everyone, Robert Nixon here with your February 2025 Campbell River market update. If you're wondering where the market is headed, you're not alone. Prices are rising, inventory levels are shifting, buyers and sellers are adjusting to these changes. In this update, we'll break down the key trends to help you make informed decisions in this evolving market. Whether you're considering buying, selling, or simply want to know what your home is worth, now is the time to plan your next move. Give me a call, shoot me a text, or shoot me an email, or book an appointment. Link below. Robert Nixon Personal Real Estate Corporation. And I'm here to guide you through this ever-changing market. Let's take a closer look at what's happening in Campbell River. So the market overview, what is changing? The market is experiencing shifts across all property types. Single-family homes are main sort of one, right? That's single-family. It does remain in a seller's market with limited inventory and prices rising. Condos and townhouses, they've moved into a balanced market, providing buyers with more options while still maintaining strong pricing trends. Overall, the market is seeing increased price growth, while inventories are fluctuating in different segments. Just a little bit about that. So, single family is doing its thing. I'm super following construction with single family, but there's not a lot going on. I feel like, there's some land development, some duplexes. Duplexes, do they fall? They don't fall in the single family category when it comes to market stats. They're kind of different, but they're kind of like the next market between single family and townhouses. So it's interesting that it's not its own market, but I feel like eventually maybe duplexes will maybe become its own market that we should follow closer, because becoming more of that middle ground, I feel like, and from the stats I pulled, that duplex, suited duplex, no strata fees, stratified, work with your neighbor, work together, a little maybe higher cost insurance, but lower cost barrier to entry compared to a big single family home, a big single family lot. Again, the middle market, the missing middle market, and the government wanting to put people into housing, and those nurses and those doctors, or I think it was nurses and like that sort of level of income where people can get into the market more easily. The single family homes market remains competitive with approximately 3.5 months of inventory. In January 2025, the average price was $789,000. By February, the average price increased it did increase by $817,000, a rise of over $27,000 in just 1 month. Over the past 12 months, the average price has increased from approximately $711,000 in 2024 to approximately $750,000 in 2025. This reflects a gain of nearly $39,000 for single-family homes. Sales activity remains strong, with the number of homes sold increasing from 21 to 26 compared to the previous year. So a little more sales. The average time on market for a single-family home is 62 days. So not selling super fast, but they're moving, right? Price them right, get them sold. Condos and apartments are a more balanced market. The condo apartment market is showing signs of stability, which is good. It was a little bit soft for a while, with approximately 5.5 months of inventory. In January 2025, the average price for condos, was $390,000. By February, the average price rose to $437,000. Reflecting an increase of over $42,000 in just 1 month. Year over year, the average price has risen by over $8,000 from approximately $431,000 in 2024 to $439,000 in 2025. Sales have slowed though, with the number of units sold are declining from 6 to 3 compared to the previous year. So sales were 6, now they're 3 this year, last month this year. Average price in the market for condo average time on market for condo is 60 days. Townhouse prices are rising, but the market does remain balanced. The townhouse market is currently balanced with approximately 5 months of inventory, so right in between that 4 to 6 month mark. In January 2025, the average price was $516,000. But by February, the average price increased to $572,000. This reflects a significant rise of over $56,000 in just 1 month. Over the past 12 months, the average price has risen approximately $539,000 in 2024, approximately $561,000 in 2025, an increase of over $21,000. Sales activity has remained stable, with the number of townhouses sold increasing slightly from 7 to 8 compared to the previous year. I just want to talk about townhouses for a minute here. Townhouses are an interesting market. There's lots going on there. I feel like there's a lot of older townhouses have been around for so long. There's these new ones going on. And now we're seeing this huge influx of new developments and new townhouses coming on. We got Evergreen. I can't remember that address, but on Evergreen there, that's turning into a nice long-term development. It's building. It took a long time to sell or start to transpire through the slow market there, but it's turning into a really nice complex. And then you got something Fisher Landing that was really affordable come on, and they're blowing those out. They're really well priced, decent, well finished. I sold one of those, and it was good. It was well. I feel like the quality control is good. When you go through a place, I've learned to look for stuff for people, and less deficiencies from the builder, less stress on my client, less of them coming back to me potentially, because I am always there to help if they have issues with the builder or anything. I want to help if I can, but usually it's the builder that has to fix it. But if you have more deficiencies, more stress, more issues, not great, right? So those ones, I feel like quality control is really good. I do need to follow up with that client. Actually, I have some of her stuff in my garage I need to take back to her from her sale that we were just storing to declutter it a bit. But yeah, and then we have the 88 units coming on Pearson there. That's just a huge development for Campbell River that's going to definitely affect the townhouse market. And as they come on, they're not showing on the market. There's only one or two, I think, listed, but there's also 88 available. So that 88 units, if you actually put that into our available inventory, which it is available, they're paying commission to realtors if you want one. I'd say come talk to me first, because there is a first physical introduction and I can chat about it. I have all the information, I have all the packages. If you have any questions about it, I can answer it. We can meet their representative there. We can go through the place, and she's really nice and good, and look at it. But I would represent you. She's representing the developer. She's not a realtor. So yeah, always contact me first so I can help you with that place. But it's big. If you put all those into the market now and run your market stats on that, the townhouse market will just go so soft, right? So there is a lot available of townhouses. Those ones are also priced quite well. But in most developments, as they sell, prices are going to go up. As they sell, they're going to start pricing them higher, especially in an increasing market. So yeah, it's not all created equal sometimes when you see these online stats and stuff that is going to be on the market but hasn't come yet. There's also another development after research my client brought to my attention. I actually had heard about it, but don't know who's doing it, don't know what's going in there. It's near his place, and he's like, what's going on? Is this condos? Is this townhouses? Is it single family? Bunch of stuff going on, development of the land. So I think we can go to the city website, or Tanya is the brains of the operation. I'll ask her to figure that out for me, if she can hear me, and find if she can find a permit was pulled for that place. That permit is public knowledge, I believe, and we can tell what's going on. Hey, this is what's going on. They're like, oh yeah, great, condo will be looking at my place, or it's single family lots or townhouses that are lower and not bypass, right? So yeah, there's always moving parts to the back end of the market, off market a little bit, that within a community that you're really tight knit with, you can know, but we can't know everything. But technically, I should know more than you as a consumer, which we don't always. You guys always find the stuff when you're looking for something specific, right? But there is parts of that stuff that we do have some insight into sometimes, and it can help like that. So there it is for you if you are wondering about the townhouse market. There's lots of availability, but prices are going up, so I wouldn't say rush into one. But at the same time, as they get to phase 3 or 4. 10, 20, 30, 50 grand more. They started at 540, I think, and they're already going higher. I sold one in there. It was higher price, I think, than the first phase there, and it was in this next row that they haven't actually started foundations yet, I don't think, or framing. I'm not sure where they're at. I drove by the other day. I think the foundations may be in. But yeah, anyways, always those developments coming on or something to keep an eye on what's going on. And your realtor should have some insight into that, or if you see something, I'm always happy to look into it for you, especially if you are like an actual client of mine that's working with me, or a past client that I know I've done work for. If you're just a one-off, it's not committed, I'd be like, hey, you send me an email, want me to do all this digging, I'd be like, hey, can I get you on the phone? Can we have a conversation? No phone number, nothing. I love to go to work for people, but also I'd like to know you at first. It's obviously just doing work for free is never fun, but anyways, it doesn't matter about me. No money for me, but yeah, I don't know, happy to get you that information, but let's talk on the phone about it and see what you're actually looking for, and if it affects you, that's probably important, right? 100 And 8 days is the average time on market for a townhouse. That's crazy, making it the longest selling property type among the three segments. So again, even though those 88 units aren't in there, there's enough units going in there that it's showing a longer time on market. I mean, if they're not even complete yet, I don't know, I guess it takes longer to sell when something's not under construction, not complete yet. And then once it goes under offer, has a couple weeks, blah, 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 goes subject free. Probably won't sell for a long time, but it'll go off market. Anyway, so what this means for buyers and sellers, for sellers, if you own a single family home or a townhouse, you are in a strong position. Prices are rising. Inventory remains low in these segments, making it a favorable time to sell. For buyers, the condo and townhouse markets are more balanced, providing more options for potential negotiations. However, waiting too long may result in higher prices, like I talked about. Markets increasing, prices are going up even on the new. As demand picks up later in the year, looking ahead though, many experts predict that interest rates may decrease. Well, they just did decrease in the second half of the year, which could decrease in the second half of the year, which could lead to increased buyer competition and further price growth. So they just did drop again. Obviously, I've seen some change since yesterday when they dropped as I'm recording this. So the next day, I'm getting more calls. It seems busier again. Yesterday was a little slower. It was just announced. Are they going to do more in the middle of the year? Like, who knows? But, I mean, with everything going on, probably they're going to come down more. I don't see them coming crazy down, but I guess it depends on everything. Inflation, economy, all that stuff. So acting sooner rather than later could be a strategic advantage. I think always in real estate, don't wait to buy real estate. That's what I was taught as a real estate investor before I was ever a realtor. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. If you're secure in your job, you're going to be there for at least 5 years, 3 to 5 years. You're going to be good. You're paying down your mortgage. You're fixing your own house up. You don't have a landlord. You're paying his mortgage, blah, blah, blah. So Canadian and British Columbia real estate market trends. Before we conclude, here's a brief overview of broader real estate trends in Canada and BC. So interest rates, Bank of Canada is now expected to lower interest rates by mid-year, is what they're saying, potentially increasing buyer activity and competition. National home prices across Canada. Home prices have risen approximately 4% over the past year. All of Canada, 4%? That's not bad. As an investor, we use 3 to 5% conservatively. If you get more than 3%, you're laughing. But when you're doing your due diligence on property as a rental or an investment, use 3 to 5%. 4% as a slow recovering market. Overall in Canada, that's crazy. And you're going to niche into your market as an investor. Hopefully you beat out the average, right? If the average is 4, that's great. So with some of the strongest gains occurring in British Columbia and Alberta. Not surprising. Alberta was down for a long time. They're starting to increase again. BC is kind of its own animal with in-migration, especially Vancouver Island. The in-migration to Vancouver Island over the last slow couple of years has been huge. It's been outperforming everyone. People are still coming here. And as things change, right now I have someone from Vancouver. Just talked to a guy today from Calgary. People are still wanting to come here. It's just what it is, especially with the retiring age, right? Market trends. Well, inventory remains tight in Metro Vancouver and Victoria. Secondary markets like Campbell River are experiencing some more bounce. As the national and provincial markets continue to evolve, these broader trends may influence pricing and inventory levels in Campbell River throughout the year. And the kid came home. He was quiet though. I said, shh, no, look at that. So my final thoughts are that the Campbell River market remains dynamic, with single family homes continuing to favor sellers, which seems to be common. Condos, townhouses provide more balanced opportunities for buyers. The key takeaway is that prices are rising and waiting could cost you some money. But you also got the right time for you. Whether you're buying or selling, the question is, are you ready to take advantage of these market conditions before the next major shift? Can't always time the market, right? I'm Robert Nixon with Robert Nixon Personal Real Estate Corporation. I would love to help you strategize your next move. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you watch to the end here, and look forward to bringing you next month's market update. Cheers.